The room froze in a single breath, the kind that burns your lungs and makes your heart pound so loudly you swear everyone can hear it. The air between us felt charged, dangerous, final. One more step, she had warned, with her whole body stiff with fury and fear, and everything I had built would be over. My job, my stability, my carefully controlled silence. I felt the weight of years pressing on my back, and instead of retreating like I always did, I moved forward into the storm, letting truth finally break free. Before the story pulls you any deeper, take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected grace. This channel exists for hearts that still hope. My name is Matthew Carter, and this happened in the United States, in a glass and steel office building overlooking the gray pulse of downtown Chicago. I had been an analyst at a mid-sized consulting firm for 3 years, long enough to know how to stay invisible. I showed up early, left late, spoke only when asked, and delivered results that kept the lights on but never drew applause. I learned early in life that staying small kept you safe. After my mother passed when I was 17 and my father drifted into a quiet bottle-shaped grief, I became the adult too soon. Stability became my religion. Silence my shield. My boss, Rebecca Hayes, was the opposite of silence. She was sharp, commanding, and brilliant in a way that filled rooms without effort. People whispered about her intensity, her impossible standards, her icy professionalism. What they didn't see was the loneliness that clung to her like a shadow when she thought no one was looking. I saw it because I recognized it. The same emptiness I carried showed up in the way she stayed late, the way she avoided eye contact during office celebrations, the way her smile never quite reached her eyes. For months, we danced around each other in polite professionalism. I brought her reports. She corrected them with surgical precision. Our hands almost touched more times than I could count, and each near miss felt like a small electric shock. I told myself it was nothing. Just admiration. Just proximity. But something deeper grew in the quiet moments, in shared elevator rides, in the way she once asked if I was okay after a brutal client meeting. No one ever asked me that. The day everything changed started like any other. Rain streaked the windows, and the office smelled like burnt coffee and stress. A major client presentation had gone wrong, not because of my work, but because of a last-minute executive decision that undermined weeks of preparation. Rebecca took the heat in front of the board. I watched her shoulders stiffen as she accepted blame that wasn't hers. Something inside me cracked. After the meeting, she retreated to her office, closing the glass door harder than usual. I stood at my desk staring at the floor, feeling that old familiar tug to stay quiet, stay safe. But the silence felt heavier than ever. I walked to her office, each step a battle between fear and something braver than I'd ever let myself feel. When I entered, the tension was immediate. Her eyes were bright with unshed emotion, her jaw tight. She told me to leave, her voice sharp enough to cut. I didn't. She warned me again, her authority filling the room, her body language daring me to test her limits. My heart hammered. This was the line I had never crossed in my life, the moment where you choose comfort or truth. I took another step. Time slowed. The rain outside blurred into streaks of silver. All the things I never said, all the years of swallowing words to survive surged up at once. I felt the weight of my fear fall away. I leaned forward and kissed her, not with desperation, but with honesty. It was a kiss that carried grief, admiration, longing, and respect all at once. A kiss that said, I see you, and I'm not afraid anymore. For a heartbeat, the world held still. Then reality rushed back in. She pulled away, stunned, her eyes wide with shock and something else I couldn't name. I knew what I had done. I had crossed an unspoken boundary. I had risked everything. I whispered an apology without words, stepping back, ready to accept the consequences. She told me to leave for the day. I walked out of that building, convinced my career was over. The rain soaked through my jacket as I stood on the sidewalk, feeling strangely lighter despite the fear. For the first time, I hadn't hidden. Whatever happened next, at least I had been honest once in my life. That night, sleep wouldn't come. I replayed every second, every glance, every unspoken feeling. I prepared myself for the termination email, the awkward HR meeting, the polite rejection. Morning came too quickly. Instead of an email, I got a calendar invite. Private meeting, Rebecca Hayes, no subject line. I entered her office the next day with my resignation letter folded in my pocket. She looked different. Tired, yes, but softer. The steel was still there, but it wasn't raised like a weapon. She spoke without anger. She told me that what I did was inappropriate, unexpected, and deeply confusing. She also told me that it forced her to confront how isolated she had become, how she had hidden behind her title to avoid feeling anything real. She didn't fire me. She asked for time. The weeks that followed were the hardest and most transformative of my life. We established boundaries, professional distance, but something fundamental had shifted. She listened more, I spoke more, she delegated instead of controlling everything. I stopped shrinking myself. We both started therapy separately, addressing old wounds that had nothing to do with each other, and everything to do with why that moment mattered so much. Slowly, trust rebuilt itself on a healthier foundation. Months later, after I transferred to a different department to remove the power imbalance, we met for coffee outside of work. Two people, not boss and employee. Rebecca shared stories of her childhood in Ohio, of a father named Thomas who believed love had to be earned, of a mother named Margaret who taught her strength, but not softness. I told her about my mother, Grace, and how losing her taught me to disappear. What grew between us wasn't dramatic or reckless. It was gentle, earned, rooted in respect. If this story is touching something deep inside you, if you believe people can grow beyond their worst moments, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. Years later, I look back on that rainy day as the moment my life split into before and after. Not because of a kiss, but because of a choice. The choice to stop living in fear. Rebecca and I didn't save each other. We chose ourselves first, then we chose each other. Before this story ends, I have one small request. Please comment below with the word hope if you believe one brave step can change everything. Today, we still work hard. We still face challenges, but we face them honestly, side by side, knowing that even in the most fragile moments, courage can rewrite a destiny. And if this story reached your heart, if it made you feel seen or less alone, please engage with this video. Your like, your comment, your share might be the encouragement someone else needs to take their own brave step forward.